Hello everyone. Today we are here to discuss Karur Stampede, when star power meets governance failure, a classic case study for UPSC aspirants. On 27 September 2025, tragedy struck at a political rally in Karur, Tamil Nadu. In the glare of media scrutiny and public grief, deeper questions emerged about leadership, accountability, crowd safety, and the responsibility of democracy. This is the Karur story and what it teaches us for governance and ethics. So what went wrong and who is accountable? The tragic Karur crowd crush in Tamil Nadu claimed over 41 lives during a political rally. Imagine, people had come with enthusiasm, but due to poor planning, overcrowding, and lack of safety measures, their joy turned into chaos. This is not just a law and order incident. It is a lesson in public administration, ethics, and political culture. So let's break it down across our GS papers. From a GS paper point of view, India has a long tradition of large gatherings, from Kumbh Mela to political rallies. But in the absence of crowd management systems, these gatherings can turn fatal. The tragedy of Karur is a reminder that modern governance must integrate social psychology into planning. As Gustave Le Bon wrote in The Crowd, a study of the popular mind, in crowds, the conscious personality vanishes. Emotions become contagious. Now let's come to GS paper 2, that is governance and constitution. Public order is a state subject. The Supreme Court in cases like Neelabati Behra versus State of Orissa has made it clear. When lives are lost due to administrative negligence, the state is accountable. Under Article 21, the right to life is a sacrosanct. Permissions for rallies comes with responsibility. If crowd density exceeds safe limits, if exits are blocked, if medical posts are absent, the administration as well as organizers are answerable. So this is not merely a moral lapse, but you see, it's a constitutional one. The Madras High Court stepped in recently, condemning the event as a man-made disaster and ordered SIT probe, reflecting the role of judicial oversight in reinforcing checks and balances. As Paul Appleby, a scholar of public administration, once said, responsibility is the soul of administration. Now let's come to GS paper 3, disaster management and internal security. Stampedes are recognized as disasters in NDMA guidelines. There are best practices, controlled entry points, real-time surveillance, crowd flow engineering, trained marshals. Sadly, none of these were adequately followed. Karur reveals how disaster preparedness in India is narrowly focused on natural calamities, not human-induced mass gathering. Economically too, the burden is heavy, hospital costs, compensation costs to victims, and the long-term trauma families endure. The stampede was not a natural disaster, but a man-induced, arising from event mismanagement. It violated all three pillars of disaster management: prevention, mitigation, and response. The guidelines on crowd management as given by NDMA, the SOPs for large gatherings, could have provided guardrails, but enforcement and institutional memory remain weak in many states. Now let's see the analysis of this event under GS paper 4, Ethics in Public Life. The bigger question here is, why do political leaders still organize mega rallies in a digital age? Often, it is a race for show of strength. But ethical politics should value human life over crowd numbers. Responsibility cannot stop with token compensation. The real ethical governance is prevention, not post-tragedy damage control. Remember what Kautilya wrote in Arthashastra? In the happiness of the subjects lies the king's happiness. A ruler who puts subjects at risk for spectacles fails that ethical test. Governance without empathy is bureaucracy. Empathy without governance is chaos. Leaders have moral as well as legal responsibility to ensure welfare of the attendees. Mere expressions of grief after a tragedy are insufficient. This is a clear abdication of their moral duties, and the politics of spectacle using large crowds as legitimacy markers conflicts with the ethics of safety, dignity, and respect for citizens' lives. The deep movie star cult in Tamil Nadu politics blurs boundaries. Fans treat leaders like demigods. In such a milieu, crowd control is harder because people believe they deserve close access to their idol. The star worship plus politics creates structural pressure on event design, more crowd density, pushing, surging. So, what must change? As a civil services aspirant, the institutional and policy reforms that one needs to look after are makes crowd safety norms mandatory for all political rallies enforced by Election Commission and the police administration. Empower local disaster management authorities and train district magistrates, police volunteer agencies in crowd risk management. Create transparent accountability framework. No selective naming, no impunity for powerful persons. Introduce public grievance redressal systems for event safety violations. Use the Karur case as teaching in bureaucracy and civil services training so that the future officers internalize the consequences of such negligence. Now, from an exam-focused point of view, how to integrate all these issues to sum it up in GS1, present it as a case study of social vulnerability. In GS2, cite Article 21 and Neelabati Behera for state liability. In GS3, use NDMA's Stampede guidelines as a reference. In GS4, propose reforms like model law on mass gatherings, mandatory safety audits, and technology-based crowd monitoring. Conclude with the principle that governance is about trust, and trust is broken when people lose lives in preventable tragedies like these. Karur is not the first such incident, but it should be the last. The Karur tragedy is not just an event in Tamil Nadu. It is a mirror held up to our democracy, how power, spectacle, and governance intersect, often to tragic ends. For a civil servant, politician, or citizen, the question is not just who to blame, but how to rebuild trust, accountability, and safety so that no life is lost in the name of a rally. Let Karur be a turning point, not only in Tamil politics, but in how India conducts public gatherings, values human life over everything else. Thank you.